And away we go. It is the Nightcap, brought to you by Galactic Fried Chicken, right here on BearcatJournal.com. You know the drill. www.galacticfriedchicken.com. Download the app for Android, iPhone, everything Galactic. Get them to deliver the Galactic goodness right to your front door, pretty much anywhere inside the 275 loop. Or go down to Dayton, Kentucky, Wednesday through Sunday, lunch and dinner. Tell them to pump it up. Save yourself 15% off of your order. All right, Aaron. We had 3 NCAA centric topics last night. I guess everybody is trying to get all of the stuff in before 4th of July.
I'll take it
next week.
I'll take it.
Yeah, we're getting news dumped every day. A number of topics today. I don't know that these all tie in together quite like
not like they did last night, right?
But there you go. You've got the chair. Have at it.
So the first thing that I wanted to bring up tonight, because as anyone who follows this particular show, the Nightcap, knows, I am an avid EA Sports guy. I am a big NCAA football guy. It's on the screen right now. That said, the Brendel Group is causing some real problems. I know we talked about this. We touched on it a couple weeks ago at this point, but they actually are asking the court to prohibit EA from doing business with schools and athletes in a lawsuit because they are essentially just, I don't know if they're mad that they weren't the group that was included. But
of course they are.
There's a restraining order that they've placed against EA Sports from dealing with the schools that they represent and dealing with the athletes that they represent. And I believe it's somewhere around the neighborhood of 50. I want to say the number is 54. But yes, negotiating rights for 54 schools. So I guess the 3 requests in this lawsuit are: EA must stop soliciting schools and athletes under Brander's jurisdiction to opt into the game. They must sever any existing partnerships that EA has with Brander Group schools, and they must refrain from signing contracts with athletes who the Brander Group has jurisdiction over. As of right now, what we know is that EA offered $500 to every athlete, encompassing all of Division I.
Yeah, they don't speak for everybody. Like, you don't get to speak for everybody if you don't speak for everybody. And guess what? There's no players association, so nobody speaks for everybody. So shut the hell up.
And as we established the last time we talked about this, people on Madden, players on Madden, don't get paid.
Right.
They don't get paid. Players here are being, when you're looking at that many schools, we did the math. You're looking at roughly 15,000 student athletes. When you're trying to pay 15,000 student athletes and you're looking at $500 each, the quick math on that, as we're rounding numbers this time, I think we did more normal numbers. That's $7,500,000. If you up that, roughly $500 per athlete, you're looking at $15 million. No one's getting any type of residuals on any of this. No one's getting any type of percentages on this, as the schools are, from what I've read and what I feel like I know at this point in regards to all of this.
It's in the range of $6 million it would cost to pay every athlete $500. Every FCS athlete.
If it's 15,000 being a rough estimate, because I don't know if they're planning on putting any of the non-scholarship athletes on, who knows. But $15 million is still a ton of money on a game that only made, I know I say only, but only made $100 million last time around. You still have to pay the developers.
15%, right.
You still, because this game isn't just a copy and paste like Madden has been for years. You have to make a whole new game.
Right.
It has to be, you have to pay the developers, you have to pay the schools and universities and brands, Nike, Under Armour, Adidas, like they're all represented. Like there's other things that have to be in place for this game to really be what it is. And if Brander Group is the reason that we don't get to play this game in roughly a year's time, I'm going to be so pissed.
Yeah, I just don't know how they specifically can hold up the entire process because they don't speak for everybody.
How much more money do you want, though? Like, if you double it to $1,000, $1,000, right. Brander's still going to get their money from who they represent,
right?
In all of that. So,
right.
Are the student athletes really making $1,000 at that point, or are they still having to pay part of that to Pied Piper?
Yeah, it's a very sticky situation because I think people just look at it and think, okay, well, everybody should get this massive chunk of money. Like we've talked about this. Mm-hmm. Well, the players are entitled to, each one of them gets this massive chunk of money. Well, in the NFL, let's do the quick math. There are 32 teams mm-hmm. and 53 players.
53 players.
That's 1,696 players.
They're also, Madden sells way more copies than NCAA will ever sell.
I think this NCAA is going to sell a gargantuan number of copies.
I don't disagree with that. I truly don't. But I still think year over year, Madden will continue to outdo because people are more interested in the NFL than are NCAA.
Let's just say hypothetically, 32 teams, 53-man roster, $500 a player. Now, EA has said they have not determined, they're nowhere close to determining how much money each player will make. That was a false report. That is not truthful. Although I think it's probably going to be pretty close. Like just the numbers say it's going to be pretty close to accurate.
Right.
In the NFL, if every player got, $500 for being on Madden, it would be less than $1 million.
Because there's way less people.
Right.
Well, and even if you consider how many people are still in the free agency bank and on practice squads, there's a lot of extra players that you can pick up that are real people, not just like computer generated until you get past the first season on franchise mode. But I digress.
I just I don't know what this group is other than their EA has decided to go with somebody else and they're trying to protect what they feel like is theirs. I don't know what the end game is because you're not going to succeed. The only thing you're going to succeed in is delaying a game that the public wants. But you're never going to get what you're looking for.
Well, and at the end of the day, as Brander Group, are you going to run off some universities
who are like, look, we can't
we need the money. We need the money right now. Like you have no idea how much money we're about to get from EA as a university simply for providing them the
name,
logos,
name, image, and likeness. The college's name, image, and likeness.
Just saying.
You're right.
So I think that's what's being lost in all of this, and I wonder if Brander is cutting off their nose to spite their face. I'm very curious to see where this goes, and we will continue to update as this progresses.
It's your favorite thing. As soon as something hits on EA on college football, it shows up in my inbox. A link from you shows up in my inbox.
Chris Vanini is reporting the NCAA Division I Council proposed to reduce transfer windows to 30 days, down from 60. Data from the past year indicate that most student athletes enter the transfer portal at the beginning of the transfer window, will go through committees, be voted on in October.
I don't like it.
I don't hate it.
No, I don't like it. I feel like it's already like 15 days in the winter and 60 days in the spring. There's 365 days. There's 300 days already the kids can't transfer. Like, why are we continuing to reduce the number of days these kids have to make educated decisions? I don't like that. I don't like that we have gotten to this point where it's like, okay, you have to have all the facts in these two very small windows, 15 days and 30 days. But guess what happens? things change, information
Dominoes fall.
changes,
Yeah.
dominoes fall. Like you're in a situation where kids aren't able to make decisions with all the information if these transfer windows are so small. I don't like it.
Who knows how things would have gone here, but looking at that as a rule, you would not have had several players at Cincinnati enter the transfer portal.
Right. Michael would have never entered. You never would have got a Z's.
JD might have been close, right?
That one was... That decision was made at the beginning. Like, if there was a 30-day window, he would have been in the transfer portal in that 30-day window.
Also from Chris Vanini that I'm seeing that I didn't send you, so I apologize for just throwing this out there. But the NCAA D1 Council also proposed new FBS requirements, which you have to use 90% of allowable scholarships over a 2-year rolling period across at least 16 sports, including football, and offer at least 210 scholarships each year worth no less than $6 million. It would remove the football attendance requirement. Any thoughts on that?
I like it. I mean, I think there's going to be more schools dropping eventually than there are going to be moving up.
I think that you have to keep in mind as you look at football attendance in particular, more people are starting to opt in to watching from home.
Yeah.
No one's building. When was the last time you saw
the places we're talking about, Aaron? Their games aren't on TV. You can't watch their games. You have to go to their games if you want to see them.
But when was the last time you saw $100,000 attendance stadium built? They don't build them anymore like that.
No, but we're not talking about the top of the sport. We're talking about the bottom of the sport.
I understand.
Teams that are moving up from FCS to FBS. Like,
but was it a percentage or was it a total amount of people?
It was a percentage.
Okay.
Of your capacity.
Okay. Then that changes. I thought it was a total.
I think it used to be, and then like
person
I think
there.
It has shifted. Like some place, like you can't penalize a place for having a 30,000 seat stadium or a 10,000 seat stadium. Then the people with the 10,000 seat stadium would never have been allowed in to begin with. You know.
Fair enough.
I like. What are we really doing with some of these schools that think they can jump up and compete at the highest level in a place where how about that? In a world where the G5, especially the bottom part of the G5, the 2 or 3 lowest conferences, they're not getting TV money. They're not relevant. Like they don't have any chance to compete with the top of the sport. Zero. None.
Do they ever go back and reevaluate that? Because if so, Temple?
Well, Temple, that they got reevaluated and they got punted. That happened.
Out of D1?
They got punted out of the Big East. You don't remember that?
No.
Temple was in the Big East and they got punted because
I'm just wondering if they should be punted again because no one goes to those games.
That already happened. It's already happened to them once. So yeah.
And the last article I want to bring up is by David Purdom of ESPN. NCAA updates punishments for athletes who violate gambling rules. Student athletes found to have engaged in activities to influence the outcome of games they're involved with or provide information to individuals involved in betting will face a potential permanent loss of collegiate eligibility. The guideline applies to student athletes who bet on their own games or on other sports of their own school. Student athletes who bet on their own sport but not involving their school are subject to a potential loss of 50% of one season. For all other wagering-related violations, the cumulative dollar amount or dollar value of the wagers will be taken into consideration when determining the punishment. Bets totaling $201 to $500, for example, could result in the loss of 10% of a season of eligibility, plus rules and prevention education. Bets totaling more than $800 could result in the loss of 30% of a season of eligibility, plus rules and prevention education. Before you say anything, I just want to point out, I wonder what they're going to, at some point, you're going to have to put in a very loud and hard rule for parents involved in gambling on that sport as well. as we saw here in Cincinnati, that can have an effect on the program.
Unless you have the parents, like unless you have the wording of the NLI or the wording of the scholarship agreement or like whatever that say that like you're going to have to incorporate the parent stuff into stuff that they sign and say, I can't bet on college. And if my son's a college baseball player, I can't bet on college baseball.
Otherwise, if that's not established, it should not. And I say this just as we saw something that happened here. It should not cost coaches jobs.
Well, the problem that happened here, Aaron, hold on. The problem that happened here isn't that it happened. It's that the coaches knew and didn't report it. If they would have reported it, then they would not have been in danger.
Mr. Parent, keep your damn mouth shut.
I agree. I don't disagree. But what I'm saying is those coaches could have avoided it by reporting. That's all I'm saying. Like they had a way.
I'm not trying to defend or.
Yeah.
I'm just saying the whole thing was messy.
So, sorry, Reds are doing work.
Rallying.
In the top of the 10th.
Rallying.
They've already scored 3, and they
take it. Let's go.
Melee just hit a triple.
Not who I would have expected. That was not on my bingo card. I didn't know that dude could.
You did not gamble on Luke Melee hitting a triple tonight.
And did not know that dude could run to third on a hit.
It's probably a double in there.
Probably
a double in there. But here's the thing. As gambling becomes legal nationwide, and it like outside of a couple, it's going to be legal everywhere. Sports gambling. The NCAA has a very sticky proposition. What they absolutely cannot let happen, Aaron, is they cannot let gambling happen in their facilities on anything. You can't come into the players' lounge, hang out with your boys, and bet on NFL games. Because
I don't like it. I don't like it. As somebody who does gamble,
do it in your dorm room, but you can't let it happen in the Linder Center, in the new performance facility.
If you if you are on the school's Wi-Fi, and the school Wi-Fi runs all over campus, how can you tell on the school Wi-Fi if you are in
geotagging? Like they can tell where you are.
A lobby or.
They can tell whether you're here or half a mile away at your dorm.
It's just when you let gambling into the sports, and it started to become a thing.
Yeah, and you have to go out of your way to make sure the gambling is not that the wolf is not in the hen house.
And we're seeing some of that, like in the NFL today.
Yeah.
Adam Schefter reported on 4 guys who are going to be either suspended last season or this season for situations involving gambling.
One of them potentially betting on his own team.
Well, that's a whole different conversation for.
But that's what you have to. That's why you have to nip this in the bud, because look, like I'm of the belief if you're gambling under $50, as long as you're not. If you play college football, as long as you're not betting on college football, or you're not betting on like your college basketball team, because there's a chance like those guys, like if somebody's hurt.
You don't think you run that when you're talking about guys who have guys that they played with on other schools? Like,
okay, but the point being, like this is what you have to safeguard from. You can't let it happen inside your walls. But if you play college baseball and you're betting $25 on an NFL game, I don't know where that's like a major deal. If you start getting into, and that's why they've developed these tiers, if you're betting $500 a game, you're betting $800 a game, well, first of all, you probably are one of those guys that got one of those nice $250,000 NIL deals that you're going to spend real quick on the DraftKings app.
I think the only people that they're protecting in this instance, and me as a cynic, I am a cynic, is the betting websites. They are only protecting Vegas. They are not protecting the student athletes. If you really wanted to protect the student athletes, do a symposium at the beginning of every season.
Have enough money to hurt Vegas, Aaron.
Okay, tell that to the people who write the actual odds for FanDuel and DraftKings, the two biggest ones that have the shittiest odds for literally everything. Aaron, the shittiest odds.
You ever been to Vegas?
Yeah.
Those buildings are real big.
They are that.
They did not build themselves because they're losing money.
No, they did that because people are protecting them. Just saying.
No, they're making a lot of money, brother.
Okay.
A lot of money. You've never been to Vegas, have you?
I've been to Vegas.
How much did you lose?
I only took $500 in cash because I am smart.
How much did you lose?
All 500.
That's the nightcap. We'll see you next time. Thanks to Galactic Fried Chicken right here on BearcutShirt.com.
See ya.